blasts and explosions happening all over the Pakistan. Baloch was flaring up, APK was flaring up. The very cause for which Pakistan was formed, they were internal strife. And they were looking at Jammu Kashmir, where there was peace.
As Asim Munir should be declared by India as a wanted terrorist. तो पहला क्रमश इसकी बहुत में गिरना चाहिए.
Whether the Balakot surgical airstrike or the Uri one, that China was behind Pakistan. The Uri was not the last strike. The Pulwama was not the last terrorist attack. The Pahalgam is not the last terrorist. I shouldn't be saying this, but I would be failing in my research if I do not state this. Next year, something of a similar kind will happen.
I'll start with a person who's been into operations, General Pandey. Sir, how do you look at Operation Sindoor? What happened? From a doctrinal point of view, from operational point of view.
Hello. So let me amplify. Ajay, firstly, it's always a privilege to be sitting with a person who's intellectually, while he's done great operations, himself is a Gallantry Award winner in Valley. But for a person, for the nation, it is very important that he's intellectually inclined to bring on paper number of stories which have not been talked of or heard of. So, very nice to be with you over there. Very quickly, I'll articulate, because everything happened after of Sindoor, I may talk later on. But the context of Operation Sindoor, and I will give very quick points. Every time there is an internal challenge, there's a shift of geopolitical arena. Pakistan comes up with something very silly, and it has been not happening now, it has been happening all the time. And when Asim Munir had to look at his future, and he also knew the moment he leaves the chair of the chief, the time will start very, very badly ticking for him. And in case Imran Khan comes back, well, by the way, he continues to be a force still while he's in jail. His time is written for a very short life. So he had to do something sharing. And so after some time, Operation Pahalgam happened. Pahalgam still happened. The second was, it was also, if the cause of a country or a nation is to strive on bringing down another, then the peace, prosperity which happens starts hurting them very badly. And what was hurting them? That while UJK, there were troubles, economy was going downturn, there were blasts and explosions happening all over the Pakistan. Baloch was flaring up, KPK was flaring up. The very cause for which Pakistan was formed, there were internal strife. And they were looking at Jammu Kashmir, where there was peace. All records in terms of tourism, economic prosperity, road, rail, air, infrastructure, rolling out, like anything. Institutions, AIMS, IITs, NIF, there were education institutions like coming out as if they were just popping up like flowers which they come out after the winter season. This was not accepted. So that unhappiness against the Kashmiris, Jammu Kashmir, was also very bad. And how could he do by selecting one? Well, if I have to select somewhere in entire Kashmir to send multiple messages, Pahalgam becomes one very, very important facet. Right? Economic hotspot, tourism hotspot, ideological hotspot, multiculturalism hotspot, because that is from where Baba Amarnath Yatra starts, was about to start within a month's time. And people were flush in numbers. It was a punishment for people of Kashmir to have start enjoying their peace and stability, getting away from the conflict economy. I'll just stress it here, and that is why it had. You may attribute any reason to it, but this is my perception.
Thank you, sir. Turning to the historian sitting next to me. Sir, this was our first time that something happened in Kashmir or Jammu and Kashmir, and then India responded. How does this response which we gave during Operation Sindoor, how does it fit in the evolution of military response to the cross-border terror? Just in brief, to look back and analyze.
One of the things which Pakistan has always sort of banked upon, and even in 1999, Kargil, they have always looked at us as, it's become more than just a term. When you keep repeating something in propaganda, the first person you convince is yourself. So this Buzdil word, which figures very often, we were caught in that whole Gandhian philosophy of peace and this and that, and there was a lot of muddled signals from the political parties, 47, 48, etc., etc. I think the biggest turning point that has actually happened, it has been the shift from the Congress to the BJP, which happened in 2014. Ever since the leadership, at least, though of course there was that exceptional period when Shastri was at the helm, where he was willing to take the bull by the horns. But by and large, we have always been a little we've been reactive. I mean, that is the only word I use, not proactive. So when you are reactive, the first shot is always fired by the other guy, so the initiative is with him to start with in any case. So they will think the way General Pandey is saying, because उनका वो ingrained हो गया ना कि हम थप्पड़ मारते रहेंगे फिर देखेंगे क्या होता है.
But would you agree, sir, you can say that the first time militarily we took the initiative. We hit them first. Do you agree with this?
I think yeah, we've taken the initiative, we've gone into the whole thing, but there were certain other alternatives, one of which I had advocated about, I kept saying, keep telling them we are coming, but actually Navy se maro inko. And the other thing that I had advocated, I think immediately after the Pelham attack was that Hasim Munir should be declared by India as a wanted terrorist. And I remember your response, you said, Pehla Brahmos uski goad mein girna chahiye. I wish we had done it.
I don't think it was an issue. Initiative is when we took. This was a response.
This was a response.
And again, this was not a response which was strategic nature. It was not even operation. It was not even tactical. It was a response to fulfill the aspiration of a population, both people from Jammu and Kashmir and also of larger part. So I will always keep on saying response. Response is not a good start. Right?
You're subject to aspiration, so I was talking about pure military point of view. First time that we fired the first shot, after 47. He never fired the first shot ever. Coming to you, Kaniswari. You've been a China watcher, and of course, you've written a book on China. How do you see the China angle is? Because when it started, first thing was that China has got it done from Pakistan. Then so much CAA which got it done. What are you reading when it started? Now we look back and see certain things and it's but the day it happened, people start talking about it. What was your first reaction?
Jai Hind, ladies and gentlemen. It is my immense honor that I am with such panelists whose books I've been reading, whose articles I've been reading, and thanks to Kashmir Literature Festival, Shibula Foundation and Shri Yuvraji, that for the first time I got to meet all three of my icons who I've been following for long. Well, since the topic is Operation Sindoor, my scrutiny respect to the Government of India, Indian Army, Indian Navy, Indian Air Force for the spectacular military victory we had over Pakistan. And credit also goes to 146 crore Indians who stood together in unison when our country was at war with Pakistan. Sir, on 4th July this year, Lieutenant General Rahul R. Singh, the Deputy Chief Army Minister of the Indian Army, said that during Operation Sindoor, China was giving live updates to Pakistan, and China was using Pakistan as a live laboratory for the testing of their weapons. And so herein comes specifically your question. I had no doubt in my mind the moment Operation Sindoor got launched, or even before that, when we went whether the Balakot surgical airstrike or the Uri one, that China was behind Pakistan. But for the first time, a serving army general candidly admitted in open forum, which I just said. If we go back little in history, there are three periods I would like to talk about. The period 2009 to 2014, 2014 to 2019, and 19 to 24. In 2009 to 14, Pakistan imported only 51% of its weapons from China. In the next 5 years, from 14 to 19, it imported 73% of its weapons from China. And from 19 to 24, it was 81%. By the end of this year, it would cross 90%. So what China is doing, China is giving full support to Pakistan. The Uri was not the last strike. The Pulwama was not the last terrorist attack. The Pahalgam is not the last terrorist attack. I shouldn't be saying this, but I would be failing in my research if I do not state this. Next year, something of a similar kind will happen. And just one more minute, sir. There's a method to madness in what Pakistan is doing. And the method to madness is China is using Pakistan to test its weapons because the first military target for China is Taiwan. On 3rd February 2023, William Burns, the then chief of CIA, said 2027 will be the year when China will invade Taiwan. So all that we see is a practice ground being used by China, who's remaining in the shadow. But now the game is entirely clear.
Thank you, Colonel sir. Coming back to you, General sir, I'll ask you twin questions. Like I said in the beginning, sir, that kind of response which we gave. In fact, we being in uniform, never expected AD to play up this much. In our discussions and what news, AD was never discussed. And here we saw, whatever could be stopped, and most of us stopped coming into our territory, was kind of see AD. So, do you agree that there's some kind of pressure was going on in the background? And had Sindhu not happened, probably wouldn't have witnessed all that. And secondly, in the backdrop of so-called nuclear threat and which Pakistan has been playing, because terrorism was being played with nuclear backdrop. How did we manage this escalation? Did we manage it? And how did we manage it?
The Vajik position of response where he's ready to react and to control the escalation matrix. Again, when Uri happened, there's one thing which became very clear, that if you go for a prolonged ceasefire, the people who get hurt are our own people who are on the power. So your ceasefire will benefit Pakistan by punishing our civilians because we don't hit civilian targets. We hit only military targets. And Pakistan only hits civilian targets. Example. So example Kabul. Right? They hit 39 people died. Because that is how they spread terror. It's a terrorist state.
I agree with the Colonel. It's a matter of time before something happens. If you had taken Sindoor in isolation, and if the American factor hadn't kicked in, you've been talking a lot about that. And in fact, I want to ask you a counter question, because whatever the dynamics of Operation Sindoor and how hard we hit them, what happened, etc., how did the psyche change? On our own side, okay, the air defense came of age. It was a huge performance. Like RT came of age in the Kargil war, air defense has come of age in this Operation Sindoor. The Air Chief in particular has been talking about the various shortfalls in the defense procurement system. Everybody's been talking about it, but he's been articulating it a lot more. If we look at Sindoor 2.0 or 3.0, or as we go along, especially in the dynamics of the Americans now having kicked in completely, this is a question to you now, it's a counter question. Do you really think that we have really learned that one lesson that we need to learn, which is to get the bureaucratic system somehow shaped into place? Or is it back to the same old thing? You chal raha hai, haan, theek hai, ye lobby hai, wo lobby hai. For a while there was a bit of an awareness that yes, we are capable of developing things, etc. People were talking. But already we are slipping back into that kind of a thing. Again there will be a flare-up, again there will be a bit of interest. One of the points which kept coming up in Kargil was that the enemy is not outside, the enemy is within. There was that whole joke about giving them free passage, and we said, ki aapko free passage MOD ki taraf de do bhaiya, we'll sort things out. have we really taken this seriously enough? Do you, in your assessment, do you think that we are in that kind of a position?
I agree with you, sir. This has been happening going forward and coming back. But I see a sliver hope that Atmanirbhar Bharat, that pushing to start it. And the private sector, which is now coming up with things which some of it is being used and some of it is like being under trials or whatever. Top leadership, I think, has realized this thing that these bureaucratic others which been pulling us back is something which needs to be taken care of. But it's like something like a judiciary, you realize, but you can't do much. Our bureaucracy, my wife's a bureaucrat myself. My wife is a bureaucrat, so I understand certain things from that perspective. There's a friction, and they refuse to understand the point of view of people who are actually affected. So, like if a Fauji is asking for something which he understands or he thinks that this is something very vital, they'll have some a different kind of a thought process to shoot it down and then give a new that thing. But I think, I don't know, so what is happening in Delhi today is very difficult to really know. But if he still remains stuck in this bureaucratic games which they play with this leadership and with forces, then I'm sorry to say they are going nowhere. But I somehow see a hope in what I see in public domain, things which are coming out in the field. Then I think possibly somebody on top is making sure that these things which are talent, which could have been put into play long back, is now being brought to forth. But I'm not very sure about it, sir.
The Pakistan Army, as General Pandey brought out, and I think even Colonel Sodi did, that here is an entity which is actually desperate to survive. Okay, he was talking about Munir, but actually this is right across the structure. We are learning lessons from Sindoor 1.0, so are they. Right? They also, and for them, the ethos and the entire raison d'etre has been India and Kashmir and this and that. They are going to keep coming at you. And they're going to keep changing the dynamics because we are wargaming, so are they. So it is a question of how, and the fact is the Americans now having openly kicked in on their side. You can call them prostitutes, you can call them Hiramandi, you can call them what you want. But the reality of the ground is that you're facing a very dangerous enemy who is bolstered, will continue to be bolstered, and whether it's in the United States or China, we better learn that one lesson that we got to walk with that stick, and unless we get that institutional integrity kicked in at every level, we are always going to be vulnerable.
So the whole of nation approach, like we keep saying, that is something. Fortress. Sorry, so we've been talking about America now coming in and China. Somebody says China is upset. Somebody says no, China is also watching, waiting and watching. This thing which Operation Sindoor, we keep referring to this operation. What impact has it made when we look at the global way of looking at India? The powers who look at India. Do you think they have started looking at India differently, or they're okay, ठीक है, third world country चल रहा है, चलती रहेगी, कुछ नहीं, बाकी मुद्दे करते हैं, कुछ नहीं करते.
So while Operation Sindoor has been no doubt a massive military victory for India, but one place where we were on a back foot was information warfare, where Pakistan scored outright. I mean, if we take our minds back, their Air Chief, Vice Admiral, Air Marshal Aurangzeb Ahmad, when he made the first press briefing, 99% was all lies. But the way he spoke for those about 9 minutes and 20 seconds, half the world was convinced Pakistan was right. In the first 3 rows of that press briefing, there were only foreign correspondents sitting. What happens, like in artillery, this is the first salvo effect. In information warfare, it is the first article or the first press briefing or the first tweet effect. And that has to be understood by us. Wars will be fought in the military domains, they'll be fought in the battlefields, but they'll also be fought on the browsers. They'll also be fought on the Twitter or now the X or LinkedIn or whatever. So while we scored a massive military victory, it took us a lot of time. Rather, if I'm candid enough, probably we haven't come out of that information setback that we had. And that's the reason we had to send 7 delegations comprising 59 members of parliaments to 33 countries. And yet, in that 1 month of when our 7 delegations were crisscrossing the globe, Pakistan got a loan of 43.4 billion American dollars from the top three monetary institutions, IMF, the World Bank, and the ADB. So while we have been very good militarily, and which I keep on saying, we have defeated Pakistan in 5 military confrontations since 47-48, the recent one being Sindoor. Next 100 years, there are 10 more military confrontations. India will defeat Pakistan outright. But what we need is we need to ramp up our information warfare, our strategic communication. And I would also like to add, things are already underway. There's been a lot of change, and 2 main changes that I would like to highlight to this August audience. One is just 2 days back, there's been a strategic defense seminar held in Sun Command in Pune, where these issues have been deliberated. And the next is, after Operation Sindoor, many senior military officers have been speaking about various issues which till then were generally kept in closed doors. So I think Operation Sindoor has been a paradigm shift for India, both militarily, information warfare, and the next 3-4 years, 5 years that we're going to see will be a great shift than what we had been seeing earlier. So full credit goes to everyone who took part in this operation before and after also.
May I add something to that? A word of caution. I agree that we were on the back foot as far as all this was concerned. But we have 2 tendencies which I think we've got to really watch out. One, whenever there is a military success or whatever you want to call it, I don't think we should do too much chest thumping. The political parties do tend to do that. It happened even after Pulwama, where 44 men lost their lives, their photographs were used for. I think that's very wrong. And even in Sindoor, even while the thing was hardly getting over, hoardings had come up all over Bombay, etc., this kind of chest thumping does not do us any good. The second thing which I also would like to say on this platform is that we really need to also bring in a certain element of maturity into the television channels, etc., which were absolutely an embarrassment. I'm sorry to say. They may be saying the right thing, they may be saying something absolutely wrong, but you made a mockery out of the entire system. यहाँ तक कि पाकिस्तान में became an industry to crack jokes on the Indian, हम उनको रेडियो झूठस्तान बोलते थे, and the way we went about it, there were certain aspects of it which I think we have to watch it in the future. It has to be very carefully calibrated, the entire information warfare, and it's very important to retain that credibility.
Very. Please, sir.
Yeah, I think we are on strat communication. So let me, because I have been the boss of Indian Army Strat Communication Division, and I've been handling strat communication here in Jammu Kashmir at certain times. Even I'm part of the media system. I just want to say, put a word of caution again. I wrote an article by the way, what just said, let not Sindoor jingoism take away from the realities what has happened actually. Because in operations, what happens is a number of things go wrong, and for which military professionals are working at it. But the politician, bureaucracy should not take away wrong lessons that wasn't success, complete success, partial success, and stuff like that. So jingoism, very, very careful.
So, with your permission, one point I would like to add. During Operation Sindoor and after that, so I kept on reading a lot of articles of foreign publications, especially Reuters, Bloomberg, and I found those articles about Operation Sindoor were generally anti-India. So I was pretty surprised that these foreign publications are, writing so openly about anti-India. And so when I got a little deeper into it, I realized the authors of such articles were people of Pakistani origin. So herein my point is that we need to encourage Indians to become journalists and to work in international publications, because that is where we'll be able to carry our true narrative. So it is not only important the national media, we need our citizens to become journalists and join the international media, because that is where the entire narrative is shaped for the bloc.
They do, but they start singing same songs.
Hang on, may I come in here? 1985, I was after Blue Star. I was with India Today till Blue Star. Then I shifted to Associated Press. So you're talking to somebody who's been an Indian in an American setup like AB, Associated Press. Let me tell you, Pakistani origin chaps are mild in comparison to what our old chaps do. And I'll tell you the reason for it. Because the kind of salaries and all which you get on those platforms are mind-boggling. I was in 1985. I was 24 years old, right? I was getting 32,000 rupees a month for doing only 3 days of work. Kashmir mein kuch ho gaya, yahan gaya, chale jao. My dad, as a brigadier at that time, was getting 1200 bucks here. So, where is the comparison? And suddenly, what happens is everybody joins with the right ideas, etc. But if you don't toe their line, somebody else will. So Indian journalists, to a great extent, and I don't want to name them, but I can actually, it really doesn't matter. But the fact is, we are as bad as everything. Until that integrity comes in, we will always be suspect. And the world is looking at us. We're looking at where China is watching us, Russia is watching us. Everybody has a pretty wishy-washy opinion about us because they're saying, back then, spine nahi hai, to kuch bhi karne ko tayar. The enemy is within.
So when I'm not over 85, I'll talk of just when application of 370 happened. So there were some foreign what I call media. Their local correspondents were here. All of them were Indians. All of them were 30 years in the trade. All were writing negative stuff. And I called, on casual conversation, all of them, after about half an hour, 45 minutes, they only said as much. Sir, we get very well paid. If I am going to write your story, then I will not get paid. They are looking for the negative on India. And therefore, we need to publish. Well, then there's a complete economic system now also in Kashmir. They will land up, they'll get the same driver, the same driver will go to that, I hope you know, same locality, people are there, tuck, within 2 hours you get the story out and he's out and publishing. That is the way it functions. And I'm talking about people in uniform who left army. They shifted, and when the tweets started coming in, I called one of them. A very young officer. He says, sir, I'm planning to go to on a faculty abroad. Stanford or somewhere, visiting faculty. And therefore, if I write a positive story, and he, when I'm looking at the person in uniform, you are engaging with him. The only thing I did was I got all the Asia heads at my office and I told them that we want to carry next story, carry. Because we in this India's democracy. But you also carry our viewpoint. Then they said, after viewpoint nahi aata. I said, I promise you I'll pass. So thereafter the shift changed. Negative story and then what Indian Army said. So we need to also engage both ways.
Absolutely. In fact, sir, if one watched the Russia's event, you always found a Pakistani journalist or family sitting during Operation Sindoor commenting our so-called weaknesses. Not a single Indian on the panel. And Russia is a friendly country. So we have country which has elections not 5 years, every year in fact. So we have a bureaucracy which integrity is of course, and of course, like you said, there's another officer, sir, very famous guy who speaks very high about Pakistan, and other day yeah. So we have all kinds of people. So last 5 minutes I'll throw the forum open for question. It was an interesting panel, and I'm sure what you've been hearing about Operation Sindoor, success, everything else. I think this was a different kind of discussion, and I hope you liked it. Anybody who had any question in mind, please raise your hand and we'll ask.
When the Kargil war broke out, I had the good fortune of actually filming it. And later I made a film, which was, I briefed Bill Clinton on the entire thing when he came here with the Americans. Does the international opinion count? Oh yes, it does. Because the kind of pressure which builds up, take 65, Tashkent, everything, the international opinion, public-wise we may say, jo bhi hai, but has to cover our own failings. Now, when we set up I actually helped set up the Army Reserve Cell at that time. General Arjun Ray was the person who was heading it. We had a very wishy-washy kind of a system. I went and shot myself. I'm my own cameraman. And war broke out. I initially offered to fly with the Air Force. I've done a lot of fighter flying with the Air Force earlier. So that, for bureaucratic reasons, again, after getting the clearance, we decided that I will not fly during the war, but after the war, which I did. When we made the film, I took a conscious decision that I will not only talk about Kargil, but we made the film Baramulla to Kargil, and we brought in the entire narrative of 4740. Now, how much of an impact that has is just count this down. Clinton came and I had this 40-minute session with him. 2 years later, he came back as an ex-president. And Indian Airlines had given him a special plane to fly from Delhi to Ahmedabad, and I was also looking after that magazine. So I happened to be the only guy with it, apart from a bevy of air hostesses, to look after it. As we got into the, he's a huge fellow. I mean, he's 6 foot, God knows how much. And I was a little surprised to see actually how tall he is. And the moment he settled into his seat, he looked at me and he says, "Aren't you the guy who briefed me on that Kargil war?" And he showed me the film. And his recall on that 34-minute film was incredible. So obviously it has an impact. We have to be able to understand exactly where the foreign media, etc., comes into play. As we just discussed, we have a problem here because negative stories, the negative twist has always been there. Especially BBC has been a classic example because they always want to prove that colonial time, ye kya kiye, kalu kya karenge, you know. So that kind of an attitude is the underlying thing. In fact, when Prince Philip came here for the inauguration of the 1983 Project Tiger ka first 10 years, I was on the stage with him at that time, and I still remember what he said. He said there are over 100,000 flights landing and taking off from Heathrow every 3 months or every month or whatever the figure was. He says that's not news. One bursts its tire or it scrapes its wing or its underbelly, that is news. So we are, you know, so that has been the unfortunate part. And in India, we haven't really somehow been able to evolve quickly enough. And it's a democracy, we have too many people pulling in different directions. As Jalil Pandey says, the moment you try and put the army version out, everybody says, yeah, propaganda. So that is a very major challenge that it needs to be handled.
Why have we failed? Number of things we face civilization, and we don't. You know, in civilization of Bharat, humans were always prevalent that time also. But everybody said कि सच बहुत महान है, वो हमेशा बाहर आएगा. It will resonate over a period of time. So such is important, but वो सच बताना भी बहुत important है. And that transition is not taking place. It is part of our DNA. हम जीत गए, सबको मालूम चल जाएगा. But in the today's AI-driven, algorithm-driven environment, सच जो हमारा बच्चा है, he is going to type that what happened in Operation Sindhu, how is Bharat civilization, हमारे पूर्वज कैसे थे. AI में तो आएगा नहीं. AI में यही आएगा brown people, city people fighting, caste आएगा, रंग आएगा, भेद आएगा, language आएगा. Everything which is negative will come. But सच कौन बताए? So we need to talk about the truth also, and we need to sell our stories as well. We as people have to talk about it. It cannot be come and run. It is people like me and you. We need to go back and we need to type number of times. Everybody should be on Twitter, Instagram, whichever handle is there. 1.4 billion cricket can run a fourth in India. The passport of India in last 14 years has changed in its power, right? Everybody needs to get it. This is not because of such. It is not because of the fact that we were always good. It is, okay, I don't want to give the credit to this government or something, because suddenly it become a, but the fact is that this gentleman has gone around selling a pitch. यहाँ बैठे बैठे रोते हुए से नहीं होगा. You need to go out and bat for Bharat, India. And that is when you fly in and out. Today morning the news is that India has been called for the Gaza peace plan discussion in Egypt on invitation of US. I just read that news flash when I was coming in. If that is true, don't you think that then the Prime Minister comes out and Jaishankar goes out and meets and pitches a muscular India, which is also along with Viksit Bharat, right, which is getting empowered by technology, isn't it important? Why would we get that important? We got no stake in Gaza actually, directly, but they do. So, this is how you put the other chap also down. बहुत silly question है और इतना deep question पूछ लो कि इसका जवाब देने में ही आदमी समझे कि कितना मुश्किल हो जाएगा. But let me struggle to answer this question because America has also been my very favorite subject to study. People think कि फौजी है तो सिर्फ मार धाड़ देता है, but there is a lot of narrative just sold. that in America, military is very powerful. They drive. Every president who comes up has always served in army, and therefore he's a great president. It's quite a good crap. Every time when you fly, somebody will come up and fold hands and say कि हमारे साथ फौजी चल रहा है. There are instances which happen. It doesn't happen that every time a Fauji is traveling this thing and the whole air hostess will come out, and I'm sure you must have flown, everybody's flown. There are Faujis who are flying. It doesn't happen. But yes, movies are made, narratives are said, the military is pushed to be the icon of the country more because they go and fight outside the country. They don't fight inside the country or along the borders. They are always staying abroad. So it is a great good and prestige for abroad and this historical. But yes, that rotating role policy is very important. In think tanks, they have great role. The guy who ran the Pakistan venture, right? The CENTCOM, what is his name? Mark Kurele. Mark Kurele has not even retired, and he's joined the same company which is getting into digging of Balochistan for the rare material which people are taking. In India, if I think of being a consultant, it will be looked as with very ye corrupt. Right? So we have a policy of cooling off for about 2 years, and when I join as a consultant, let's say if I join, I need to inform variety of hierarchies that I'm going to join as a consultant, which is incorrect. Today, I am a citizen of Bharat. I am wearing a uniform. The day I have retired, I am again a citizen. Today I am doing all this for absolutely free because I continue to be a citizen. So if I go as a consultant and advise the private industry what is required is imperative. Similarly, if I am allowed to formulate the policy for international relations, for this thing, we will be able to, as a veteran, empower the government of India to achieve much, much more beyond what the bureaucracy does. That lack of joining the civil stream at the government level is not restricted to, is only restricted to people in uniform. Military uniform. If I'm a civilian, I'm a policeman, I'll get a job straight away in the ground. If I'm a bureaucrat, I'll straight away get a thing. So silence, complicity allows you to be perpetuated in where you are going to continue with the same thing. But the people in uniform are revisionist. Every day's plan gets revised because context changes. And that is what we get to the table, and that is what the American military gets to the table in the policy. That's where it's.
Second, sir, your question I'm going to try to what General Pandey said, sir. In India, we rarely have veterans from the Army and Air Force joining electoral politics. That is where it makes a lot of difference, because even if one odd veteran joins the electoral politics, he will not be given that ministry where he can make the maximum difference. I was attending the National Day of Taiwan, organized by the Taiwan Embassy in Delhi just 3 days back, and there they played a clip of our Honorable Prime Minister Modi, and where Prime Minister Modi said in that clip that when he visited Taiwan, he was very impressed, where he saw that in Taiwan, the minister holding the charge of the Road and Transport Ministry is a PhD in transportation engineering. The minister in Taiwan, who is in charge of the medical or the health ministry, is a doctor. So what we need to do is we need to get more veterans in electoral politics, so that eventually when they go up in the higher chain, they're able to make decisions which will have the maximum impact for our defense forces. Another point to it is, many of our veterans who come on electronic mainstream media channels, I'm sorry to say, they really make a nuisance. As a veteran, we belong to the Indian Army, Navy, Air Force. We cannot be seen indisciplined while on TV either. If we are indisciplined on TV, then what was our 30, 40 years of service and training? So that is where I think these small baby steps will go a long way, and sir, I totally agree with you. We need veterans at places where they can influence decisions. Because, like they say, a doctor can understand a human body the best. With due regards to politicians and bureaucrats, only a veteran or a serving officer can understand the defense forces the best.
Yeah. But then you have Lalu Prasad Yadav, we discussed in Harvard, the best air minister, and the insecurities which we create, what we propose in, and what happens in the circles which we spoke in Delhi. So we have our issues. So, ladies and gentlemen, it was this beautiful session. I'm sure you all enjoyed it, and we now, I think, overshot time. But timekeeper is very strict, so I over our explanation. Jai Hind later. Thanks a ton. Thank you, Jan.